What's up, guys? I want to talk to you today about the best team in Korea in Valorant. They're called Vision Strikers. They've got a bunch of former CS players on their team, and I could go on a long tangent explaining why they're so fun to watch, but I'll do that after showing you the first clip, because everyone just wants to see the sick plays, don't they? So watch this one first. I've got a bunch of plays to show you. Watch this first one, and you'll see why I was so excited and just had to make this video. Just sit back and enjoy this. Genuinely nutty stuff. It's flashy, it's creative. The more you watch it, the more deep it gets as well. And so to break the play down a little bit and show you guys why it's so special, why it's not just a jet dashing out of mid like you see in your ranked games. This is a play that has been thoroughly thought through and set up. So let's break down this play, and then we'll go on a bit of a tangent about Vision Strikers. Okay, so this play is set up in a bunch of very specific ways. First of all, the Omen is stood right at the edge of the, we'll put it to the split screen here. The Omen is stood right at the edge of C. He's going to blind down C aggressively to kind of push anybody back that was trying to take C control. At the same time, the Sova is going to shoot a recon dart that lands here to highlight anybody at back of spawn. Very weird recon dart that you would only see in a play specifically like this. The Jet is going to dash out a garage, which you saw, but what you might not have caught is that the Breach is going to flash first here, which catches these players that are playing at headshot box, and then the Breach is actually going to swing out and shoot a flash that I've never seen before that somehow goes through the walls and erupts right here, where the Jet is basically positioned right now, and it flashes everybody in this kind of area. It is such a precise flash. I have never seen anybody use it in this kind of way. So what this does is, it funnels people out of C if they were trying to push there, it funnels them out of taking early grass control, and it kind of bunches them up in this area. And that is where the Jet is going, where she's going to meet a bunch of blind players and execute a couple of easy kills. Take a look at how this actually happens. We'll slow it down and point out each thing as it occurs. It's such a beautifully timed play. Everything is working in perfect synchronization. So look at the minimap. You can see the blind come out, as well as the recon arrow is going to hit at the back towards here. They dash out. That's the blind that just came through here above headshot box. And then as the Sage backs around the corner, here's another blind at the top here, which, again, I have no idea how this Breach shoots this blind. I don't even know the mechanics of how you get the blind to land here. I've never seen it before. It is normally a blind that would have literally no value. But they found this specific thing and a niche play to be able to immediately catch this Sage. And also, you might think, well, what the hell is this Omen doing here? How did they get the second kill on the Omen? Well, this is the guy that got pushed back based on the Omen blind that's coming down C long, and then has to kill a recon dart that's above him right there. Just a wonderfully, beautifully executed set play on on Haven, to be able to catch your opponent unawares and make them very scared that you're going to do a play like this in multiple rounds in the future. Yeah, it only really works with jet knives, but anytime you see that ultimate up, the team that's attacking is going to be very careful and very passive about setting up their default in the beginning, because you could execute a play like this. So now it's time for the little tangent about Vision Strikers. I've got another 5 plays that are pretty similar to this, and that is monstrous, because I took all of these from 2 BO3s. From 2 best of 3 series, they showcased 5 unique strategies, both in terms of executes at the beginning of rounds like this, and also sight executes when they're attacking, that I've never seen before. This is incredibly tactically dense. Other teams will have a few of these, and they'll stretch them out over tournaments. They'll maybe show one set play in one tournament, or they'll only find one opportunity in a BO3 to use one set strategy. Vision Strikers are piling these strats in to their series. And this was a series where they're going up against the top team in Singapore, SMG, and then the next series is against the top team in Japan, Jupiter. So, you know, there's reason for them to really try in these games, hence why their games are so tactically dense, I feel. But they're not that good of a team. And I know that that might sound crazy because we put Vision Strikers at, I think, number 8 in our top 10 based on Joe Strong Edwards' recommendation. We hadn't really watched that much. Well, I spent this week watching a lot of Vision Strikers and a lot of Absolute Jupiter and these other Asia top teams. I went back and watched a couple of other Vision Striker VODs from the past as well. They're not that good. In the mid-round, mechanically, it kind of falls to pieces. But what they make up for, or rather what they lack in strategic, and by strategy I mean like a good read of the game overall, that the literal definition of the term strategy. What they lack in like game sense, overall planning, IGLing, rifling, that kind of stuff. They're not at the top tier when it comes to that stuff. But what they lack in that stuff, they make up for in awesome tactics that can put a team with better fragging massively on the back foot and result in rounds like these where you're just gifted round wins, literally gifted round wins. So let's move on to some executes, some attacking executes that they're showcased in this series on Haven as well. I haven't really picked out other executes from their other maps because I didn't think it was particularly necessary. But you can see here that the Jet just backs away after they've got these first 2 kills. It's a 5v3. By the way, they actually lose this round because of, again, poor decision-making and poor retake coordination when it comes to the end of this round. So just because a team is good tactically does not mean they're going to be good at all other aspects of the game. And Vision Strikers aren't good at other aspects of the game, or at least not at the top tier. They're pretty good. They're good enough to beat the other Korean teams, but their massive strength and something that other teams worldwide, other top 10 teams worldwide could learn from is this creativity with the executions. So let's take a look at this. This is round 15. And what I loved about this, the reason that I included this in the video, is that you can literally see them planning it on the minimap. Look, I'll bring up the minimap for you guys here. As I play it out, look at the pings around the map. They're literally pinging this as like a plan in the opening. So I think whoever the IGL is, which I believe it's Glow because they've previously IGL'd for the MVP space team, which I think is where the majority of these guys come from. I think he's presumably doing the IGLing. They're kind of indicating what their plan wants to be at the beginning of this round. So they're going to go for a B to C execute. This is a rare execute. You don't normally see this. You'll often see B to A executes with like a Sage Wall on the left-hand side. So you'll see Garage sometimes to C. NIP used to run a Garage to C around the back like this, which was very creative, I thought. They used to put a Sage Wall here and then basically do this like Garage to C execute. This is even more elaborate, actually. And I'm going to keep the minimap view up because you guys will be able to see with the split screen kind of what's going on. But the minimap view is really important here to get a feel for how they put so much pressure on these C guys and how this attacking round is essentially just a set execute. There's a little bit of map control at the beginning, you know, they take a bit of control over mid, they're making sure that they run a default so that SMG aren't pushing out. But as soon as they break this Sage Wall, they're going for it. So they do a play that they love to do so much, which is to flash and dash. They are flashing with their breach and dashing with their jet, which gets you huge amount of ground very quickly. You'll see it come through here. They basically smoke on B and they flash the B entrance and dash the jet in. So now they've got somebody deep into B. They're going to play inside this jet smoke as well. So even if there is someone on B, it's unlikely this jet is really going to get punished for it. And at the same time, they're going to omen blind the player that's holding in Garage. So this player in Garage is now getting, potentially, if they're playing at top of Garage, if they're trying to escape out this way, they're going to meet the jet. And if they try and escape into Garage, well, now you've got the C holders on the back foot. So you're already putting enormous amounts of pressure on them. There's a recon arrow that goes towards the back here as well. They managed to get the pick on the Phoenix, and you've already got this jet deep. Sorry for the quality, by the way. This is as good as the VOD gets. It's horrible bitrate once you download it. You've already got this jet deep into the back of C. So immediately, let me wind it back 10 seconds. Within 10 seconds, you've gone flash and dash. There's what, 1:16 on the clock. Within 5 seconds, 6 seconds, this C player has lost Garage and is under enormous amounts of pressure. Sure, RB dies, but Falfafal there's no way that he's going to be able to survive this. He's got players just encroaching him from all directions. So I thought that was really good. It's a B to C kind of push that you really don't see from any other teams. Again, a unique execute that is part of the Vision Strikers playbook and shows that they are innovative, and that is what is pushing them ahead of the curve. And making up for their deficits in other areas. Okay, this is round 19, and this is the final round of the map. They win this one, and they take it 13-6. Significantly better than the best team in Singapore. And this one's going to be a Garage to C execute. And this isn't as creative, it's not as unique, but I wanted to showcase it because it highlights that really the strength of Vision Strikers is simply their timing and coordination on set executes. They're a bit like Gen G in that sense, if you guys have watched a lot of NA Valorant. I think any team that puts up defensive aggression would ruin them because they wouldn't have time to set up these executes. Any team that plays heavy retakes would probably ruin them as well because they're not that good at being able to hold the sites. It's more about executing onto them. But against teams like SMG, who are just passive and hold sites without really pushing for info and don't even have a Sova to be able to deliver them that info for free, yeah, it works really well. And it's very creative. It's fun to watch. So take a look at this. They've already got Cubby control with their Omen, who's going to blind into the site. They've got the Sova there to be able to recon dart. So now they just need garage control. So they're going to attempt to take garage control here with a fault line. I think it flicks over to the breach's point of view at some point here. And they're also going to smoke the top of Garage. So smoke goes down on the top of Garage. They breach stun to be able to enter. They enter. There's nobody there. Even if the breach dies, there's someone to be able to trade him. Although, ideally, you actually don't want your breach entering here because you're trying to use the breach ultimate in the end anyway. They should probably have, like, the Jet, honestly, entering. But whatever. Doesn't get punished. And again, at this point, this is all the timing-based kind of stuff, because immediately once they take Garage, the recon arrow is fired towards the back of the site, smoke goes down towards the back as well, so no reinforcements can be coming in or playing that kind of back area. A blind comes down, and this blind is really good. I think I saw Relics doing this first, actually, on C9, but I'm sure other people in scrims were doing it as well. And the blind catches close corner, but it also catches this, like, close to box and wood area, too. At the same time as that happens, they're going to breach ult and dash in at the same time. So remember, this player in the close corner here is not breach ulted, but they are flashed. So this Jet that's dashed in has actually been caught by the breach ult, but still gets the pick because they're blind. And the counter utility from Falfafal is just too slow because the timing was too good. It was fast. It was kind of a contact play, although they did indicate that they were taking control of Garage. And boom, they've just got the site. It's that kind of thing that is winning Vision Striker these games. Also, very nice in this instance, individual play from Stacks to realize that he should lurk in Garage and catch too. All right, so now we've seen a bit of their site executes. I'm not going to show site executes anymore because I feel like that point has kind of been showcased. But what I will continue to show is one unique execute from every map. How wild is that? They have a specific set execute for every map in the pool. I saw, and that was only the course of 2 BO3s. Think about how tactically dense that indicates that Vision Strikers is. That over the course of 2 BO3s, they can show a strategy that a tactic rather, we should call them tactics, but a tactic that I have never seen before across every single map. Unique, creative, incredibly cool. Watch this one. This one actually might be my favorite. Genuinely could be my favorite. This is a set play at the beginning of the round, round 3. So, Vision Strikers won the first 2 rounds. They know that this is the first round that SMG could have ops. So this is a bit of an anti-op, very aggressive setup to attack down mid. That's what they're going to be doing. A very fast push down mid and into B heaven. And that's great against oppers who are going to be holding mid. Great just generally speaking as well, but also particularly good against oppers. Which is, I think, why they've chosen round 3 to try and run it. It's almost reminiscent of my Sentinels video that I did against TSM. They're picking the precise timings where they can not only break the economy of their opponents, but especially good if you can find those moments where they have ops and break their economy. So anyway, what the hell do they do in this round? I'm going to describe it a little bit first before I show it. So what you're going to see first is that the Jet, I love this by the way, the Jet throws a smoke here and here. And what that does is really defensive smokes from the Jet. And all that does is it allows the Jet to swing out wide and set up for the dash up mid without ever possibly getting opt. The upper would have to hit a shot through a smoke and predict that the jet was going to be there in order to kill them. Now, what's the second smoke for? It's for the breach to swing with a flash. Imagine utilizing a smoke at the beginning of the round just so that your breach can get an angle to flash. How principled is this? They are not willing to make any risks with their executes. They've thought through their executes so clearly that they are even smoking for people to peek with a flash. It's so fucking smart. Anyway, let's watch this without the minimap view first so that you can get a good feel for the strat, and then I'll probably rewind it. So, jet smokes come out, allow the breach to peek. The breach peeks out into the smoke and gets the flash. The flash catches the people at top mid, and then the second flash goes deep into heaven. RB catches the first guy, gets caught by the second, but they've already got enough control here and pressure on the B players that they just go for a B execute, again with another breach flash because the breach has now come around to B main this time. So they've put a lot of pressure in mid very early on, kind of pulled people into B heaven, or rather disrupted them from that safe B heaven position, and then they've got their Cypher lurking up mid. He was covering towards A, he lurks towards mid, and he catches them for the backstab, and they win this round 2-1. It's a pretty nice execution of it. But guess what? There's an even better example of it in round 8. They end up winning this round. Really nice execution. Not the perfect example of it, but don't worry. Don't worry, guys. The perfect example is coming. Round 8. Once again, they identified that there's an AWPing setup. There's 2 AWPs on the other team. One from the Jet, one from the Killjoy. So an AWP is going to be playing... They don't know this, but the AWP is going to be playing aggressively on this kind of angle. And then the other AWP is going to be playing in mid. So I'll use this opportunity to break it down with the minimap a little bit as well. And again, look at the economy. They're going to break them for the next round. If they win this one, you know, Kama isn't going to be able to... I mean, they are going to get enormous amounts of bonus money, but certainly the Jet is not going to be able to buy another AWP. Probably Falafel isn't going to be able... Falfafal, not Falafel, sorry. Isn't going to be able to rebuy as well. So, again, the timing of these executes is also very, very good. So this time, there are some slight changes to it. Instead of having the Sage over here and pushing B main with a Sage wall afterwards, they're going to push everybody up mid. So only the Omen is going to lurk towards B main with the bomb. So the Spike is going to come B main late. But the other guys are all going to push mid on the back of this incredible pressure that the Jet is going to apply. So let's watch this one again, because the fundamentals are still exactly the same. So a smoke towards B heaven, which is just so that anybody that's playing this like rafters position can't get an angle on these guys as they're pushing up B heaven. It's an indicator that they're going for a very fast B heaven play. Again, the smokes come out here and here. This one to allow the breach and angle to get this flash off, and this one to allow the Jet to swing out wide and go for a dash up mid without possibly getting AWPed. Because if you don't put these flashes, these smokes down, a Jet that is holding up here, or anybody that's holding up here with the AWP, would be able to pick off one of these players as they're setting up for it. So they're really trying to make sure that that cannot happen. They swing out. The Jet dashes up mid. Now, I don't know whether you quite caught it on the screen there, but there was a breach flash as well. So the breach flash comes through just at the top here, but the timing is perfect. So the flash pops just before the Jet gets there. Again, these timings must have taken them a long time in this server to be, in like custom servers, to be able to get perfect. But the timing on them is so sublime. You can say this time as well that RB checks the right-hand side at metal box, which is where he got caught before. Last time the Jet stayed here and ended up, you know, staying, was flashed but was hidden and was able to get the kill. So this time RB checks the right-hand side to make sure there's nobody hiding there. There isn't. He swings around and he sees these 2 players, both flashed. They are also double flashed this time. Omen blinding into B heaven. So not only are they blinded from the breach first flash here and the second flash that lands deep in B heaven, but they're also Omen blinded at the same time. This is a huge amount of utility, but the execution and the prediction of how the opponents are going to react is perfect. He mops up the Sage. RB easily getting that kill. The Jet desperately trying to hide in their smoke, but the Sage and the Cypher and the breach are really close behind, and they're just going to rush into B heaven with 4 people, easily get that kill. Okay, the Killjoy catches 1 with the AWP, but B is theirs, and 3 picks off the back of it as well. It's such a stellar execute. So good. And you have to, think about it as well in this kind of sense. As defenders, you have to respect it every single round. Every round, it's possible that vision strikers could try and run that execute. So you always have to be set up at the beginning of a round in a way that could punish that if it happened, which already you are fucking with the defaults of the defending or attacking team, whichever way you choose to run these executes. Just literally beautiful. Now let's take a look at Ascent. They run a very similar play on Ascent. Again, you're going to notice a theme here. All of them are based around Stax' breach flashes and RB dashing. Their whole playbook and the way that these are designed is around the timing of Jet and how dashing with Jet breaks timings and can put enormous amount of pressure on you in a very short span of time. So this time I'm going to explain the play before I just go through it. So, first of all, the breach here, Stax, who is defending, is going to flash this area in order to flash tiles. So the flash is going to pop at the top of this. Oh, I've got it on highlighter mode instead of pen, so it's very soft. So they're going to flash the top of here, which flashes any players that are holding and looking to kind of peek mid from tiles. Then they're going to have the Jet dash through. And again, this dash is really important because it keeps the pressure very much on your opponents, but it also breaks the timing for anyone peeking from top mid. Even the fastest peek that you can do from top mid won't be able to catch this Jet as she just runs it into mid, essentially. Then you've also got this Omen who is going to blind B main. Again, these are really important because they push people out of position. These Omen blinds are being used, not necessarily for their blinding value, but for their map control value. You can't keep your position when you're blind. You have to go somewhere safer. It's just that the vision strikers are making certain areas on the map not safe when they usually would be. This tiles area, usually very, very safe for the attackers. It is an area of the map that you literally start with when you spawn, and yet it is not safe with this execute. So the Omen blind comes through. A recon arrow is also going to come through in the middle of tiles as well to give them just another thing to disrupt their crosshair. And let me just preface this by saying this execute doesn't even work that well, and they still win the round easily. So let's take a look at just how it plays out with the knowledge of how it's supposed to work. Stax goes for the blind, Jet dashes in, Omen blind has already been used. Counter utility from the breach is actually pretty good, and Glow, the Omen, gets caught in the tripwire, actually. But it still doesn't matter. I mean, look at the minimap here. The minimap showcases that they have 3 players in tiles who aren't thinking about being defensive within the first 2 seconds of the round, but they immediately have to be. And instantly, they've got players in their face. This breach is backing off because they don't really know what to expect. Maybe it would have been better for them to try and hold their ground, but they were flashed. So what are you supposed to do? Stay anti-flash at the beginning of every single round? Actually, yes, that is kind of what Jupiter are forced to do here because this play is possible. Omen blind comes through here to disrupt anybody playing B main. Recon dart lands. And look at the minimap as we roll this forward a little bit. Even though the Jet gets stunned and can't really capitalize, these players pushing out from B main are there, man. They're there so fast, just straight up in their face. Even though the Omen gets caught by the tripwire, the second player, Zest, is just there spraying down the people that get caught, that kill Glow. And RB comes around the corner and is able to kill Raider. Jupiter aren't thinking clearly, aren't able to take the trades and take the fights clearly. Their positioning is also dreadful because they weren't expecting to have a fight. And they're already in spawn, man. RB and Zest are already pushing into Jupiter's spawn within the first 10 seconds of the round. This is crazy. And it puts Jupiter in such a rough position when they're attacking because they constantly have to think that this kind of play is possible. It puts enormous amount of mental pressure on them when they're setting up for their attacking defaults. Final one, Bind. I know it's been a long video, guys. Thanks for sticking with me so far. I'm hoping that the absolute, sheer amount of unique tactics that I'm showing you, it makes it worth watching the video up to this point. But this play on Bind it's still unique and creative, but Bind as a map has been explored, I think, more than most other maps. It's a lot of the tactics that you can run on it have already kind of been done to some extent, but this one is still really unique, and it's pretty similar to that Haven play. It's an aggressive Jet execute using double breach flashes that I've never seen before. So I'm going to run the play first and then we'll go back over it. So again, just to put it in your minds here, RB is on defense, pushing A short against Jupiter within the first couple of seconds of the round. So breach flash at the top of A short, and then this second flash into the Shower's teleport area, which is just insane. It's crazy. And they completely pinch the Showers players. And like all of Vision Striker's tactics and unique strats, the more you watch it, the more you see. So let's break this one down slowly. Sorry, I guess I didn't show you that in all of its glory because I had the minimap up at the same time, but let's just watch it in all of its glory here. You'll be able to see everything that occurs all across the screen, even though the split view is pretty good for that, to be honest. Look at that. Just crazy amounts of defensive aggression. But it is quite principled. It's not stupid. It's not crazy. It's not easily counterable. So let's take a look at the minimap and showcase really how they set this up. Actually, this minimap view is all over the place, isn't it? Let me try and adjust it a little bit for bind. Okay, that's this is gonna have to do, I'm afraid. Okay, anyway, so let's start with the breach. The breach is gonna first off flash up here. So this first breach flash is gonna pop at the top left of A short from the defender's point of view. They're also going to have their brimstone here, smoke top right of market. And the timing works out not quite perfectly, but pretty perfectly. So that Crow, who is the defensive breach, sorry, the attacking breach here, would have to hit some pretty nutty shots to kill RB. So the smoke is good. It's not perfect, but it's good. So the flash comes through first. So anybody that's playing here is going to get hit by that initial flash. The second one, though, the breach swings into Cubby in order to get an angle on this back flash here. And the flash pops for the Showers TP. Let's watch this in real time here. And I'll pause it. So again, you can see the smoke about to pop on the right-hand side. You can see the kind of green outline. And you can see the flash as well as it came on the left-hand side. You can see in the minimap that the breach stacks has pushed up into Cubby now to get an angle on this wall. You just saw the breach flash kind of come through the wall there. That's because Stax has pushed into Cubby to be able to get that angle. Now, at the other side as well, you've got Brimstone putting down not just a smoke for market, but also a smoke for Showers. So that these Showers players, if they get scared of the jet, can't just run forwards because the Brimstone is going to be able to hold that smoke. Now, in actual fact, the Brimstone does die here. The Cypher pushes him, and they get that kill. But it's easily traded afterwards, and it's a good strategic idea. It's a good tactical idea. Okay, not only this, not only the double flash play with the dash, but also if you look over at the B side of the map, the Sova shoots a recon arrow through the teleporter that lands right outside as well. So not only do these Showers players have to worry about the double breach flash and a jet dashing at them, but they also have to worry about the recon dart that is just at their feet, highlighting them for the Brimstone to shoot through the smoke. A beautiful play that has just overloaded the attackers with utility early on in the round and put enormous amount of pressure on them in a situation where they are not expecting it whatsoever. And this amount of pressure is just overwhelming. Look, they're highlighted by the recon dart. The Reyna tries to counter flash, but it's way too deep, so they just swing around the corner anyway. He gets caught. Now, the Brimstone does die in Showers, for sure. That definitely happens here. The Brimstone dies. But the Breach can instantly rotate from Cubby back around to Showers in order to cover that anyway. And so they instantly get a two-man advantage. Or rather, a one-man advantage. It could have been a two-man advantage. The other thing as well is, these attackers are worried that someone could go through the teleporter as well. They don't know whether someone could follow that recon arrow through the teleporter and just completely crush them. Enormous amounts of pressure being applied here with this execute. And the counterplay here, for a lot of teams will just be to rush B as fast as possible, because all of this utility is being used towards showers. If you only have one player that's over there that's getting pushed by 3 people, you can run a fast execute into B and try and hope that that will work out in the meantime. But these players on B are just playing really passive in Octagon. They're just holding their ground in Octagon, making sure that they play for long control and are able to retake after the B hit comes through. Incredibly strategically sound, tactically sound rather, gameplay. It's beautiful to watch, absolutely beautiful. And again, I just want to reiterate that this was accomplished over the course of 2 best of 3s. A best of 3 against the best team in Singapore and a best of 3 against the best team in Japan. And I am not trying to make the claim that Vision Strikers are a top team in the world. I think we were mistaken to put them in our top 10 when it comes to the Clutch OK Power Rankings. We hadn't watched enough of them. Now that I've watched more of them, I don't believe that Vision Strikers are a top 10 team. I don't think they're actually that close. But what I do think they are is incredibly creative. Some genius level creative when it comes to tactics and specific, what CS people call strats within the game. And other teams could definitely learn from this, because even though Vision Strikers don't have as good fragging as Jupiter and don't have as good mid-game adaptations, you could argue, they still won this series pretty handedly, partly because of excellent executes like these.